questions that we ask, and it's born of a lot of frustration, is why does this take so long? Now, it can unfortunately take up to a year, 2 years, even longer sometimes, between submission and publication. And the reason is the peer review process. So reviewers, there's typically at least 2 reviewers used for each paper, and they'll have to look at it 2 or 3 times. If you think about a review and ask some of your senior colleagues about the reviews they do, they may well review for half a dozen journals. They'll get sent 4, 5, even 6 articles per year by each journal. They do the review for no money. They have to do it on their own time. They do it because they get an early sight of the research that's getting out there. And ultimately, they may well, by reviewing for a journal a lot, they may get invited to be an editorial board member of the journal. So there are some incentives in place, but ultimately, they're doing it for free in addition to everything else that they have to do. And typically, in social science, it will take a bit longer because papers are longer. Editors will give a reviewer 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks even to do the review, and then the author has to do all the changes and then it has to go through the system again. These are the reasons why it takes so long, unfortunately. And also, I saw some data recently that actually showed and proved what we long suspected, is that over the last few years, the average number of reviewers an editor has to ask to review a paper is increasing, i.e. reviewers are saying and declining an opportunity to review more. And again, it's because time pressures, etc. So it's often difficult to find the reviewers, and that means you send an email, you've got to wait 2 or 3 weeks, and then eventually the reviewer gets back to you saying, no, they can't do it, you've got to find another reviewer, etc., etc. So the review process takes a very, very long time. If you are rejected, and every single academic that's ever lived has been rejected, so don't worry too much if and when you are rejected, then, as I said before, the number one reason is because they haven't looked at the journal scope. Even before that, they haven't actually followed the instructions in the author guidelines. So it could be something as really, really simple as that. And again, if you haven't done your research about the journal that you're looking at, you'll miss simple things like that. Typically, the actual problems will be around quality. They will think that the methodology is not appropriate, they disagree with that, or it's not rigorous enough, there's not enough data. They'll say things like the paper motivation is weak. Reviewers love to use this kind of wording, and you may think, what are they talking about? When they talk about motivation, again, I was talking about persuasion. It means that you haven't persuaded the reviewer or the editor. The research you've done is either original enough and or significant enough contributions to the body of knowledge. So the motivation of it, in other words, so what? You haven't answered the so what question enough. So this is where, when we were talking before about things like the introduction and even the methodology, you do have to be quite confident. You do have to state why you're doing this and the belief that you have, translate that into the writing. In terms of getting into the peer review process, I'll just quickly fast forward to the next slide. The good news is that once you're in the peer review process, then statistically, you're much, much more likely to finally be published. So this is a study we did in one of our journals, and this is a typical year. There were 86 submissions to the journals, that's relatively small, and ultimately 29% of those were published. So this is what happened to all of those papers. And what you see first is that 24% were desk rejected. So a quarter were out of the running straight away, and this was because they were not, they didn't answer the scope, they didn't adhere to the guidelines, etc. And so the editor thought, no, they're not worth it. 48% said, like, that's fine, they went into review. 28% actually went into revision. And why do you think just over a quarter of papers were sent back to the authors? Why would an editor send the paper straight back without going into peer review? Sorry?
Well, they put their names, it's not mine.
No, it's not nothing to do with the names. Actually, the names are taken off the paper, so the editor doesn't know who the names are. Because it goes into the double-blind peer review, so that it doesn't. The editor and the reviewers shouldn't know who the names are, or they can't because it's taken off in the submission process. Sorry?
Didn't you say at first it was just that conforms to general requirements?
That's why they were desk rejected. And it may well be that there's just simple errors. For example, they've submitted an article that's 10,000 words long and they only accept 5,000 word long articles. It may be something as simple as that. But there must be something that they like in the article for them to send it back and say, can you change that? So that may be something. There's another bigger reason. Again, the editor will probably see something that they like, but they'll send it back because the English isn't good enough. It has to be absolutely tip-top standard, otherwise it won't get published. And the editor won't spend time, and the reviewers won't spend time changing this level of English. A high level of English is a minimum standard. They won't reject it because of a low level of English, particularly because if they see that the research itself is actually good, but if the standard of English isn't good, they'll send it back. So in other words, you can get into the top half by simply making sure English is perfect and adhering to the scope and guidelines of the journal. 2 easy ways to get straight in. Of all of these that go in, because some are actually withdrawn at this stage, they can't be bothered or they've changed their mind, whatever. So suddenly it's down to 66%. So you're in the top half of publishing. So your odds are suddenly 1 in 2. And originally they're more like 1 in 4. Even better, if you're asked to revise, this is the first revision, 37% are asked to revise at this stage, because another 6% are withdrawn. So if you're asked to revise, you're almost there. You've only got 3 in 4 chances of getting published. Now this is one study of one journal in 1 year, but typically this is how it pans out. The difference will be what percentage the journal will accept. If the journal is accepting 10%, obviously these figures will be wrong, but they will be proportionate. Or if they're accepting 50%, again proportionate. But this is typical in terms of how things filter through the system. So therefore, requested for revision is good news. One of the best ways to deal with this that I've seen is you'll get a report. Typically you'll get maybe 2 reports from the 2 reviewers and also a note from the editor. So you probably have 3 sources of comments on your article. Now what I would do is I would identify each individual point and put it on a table. So reviewer 1 made 10 points, reviewer 2 made 10 points, the editor made 3 points. Okay? You state all that in the table. You then go to your article and then you change and you amend and adapt and improve your article according to those comments. And you put on the table what you've done to change it and where the changes are. So then you send that document back when you've revised your paper. So the editor gets a very nice summary of what points were made, how you've improved your paper, where you've improved your paper. So for the editor and the reviewer, it's as simple as possible to go back to the paper and say, oh yeah, this is what I thought about this is what they've changed. Fantastic. So to be tabulated like that, rather than potentially miss something because it may come to you just as a lot of text, even though there's a lot of individual points there. One of the things that it's often tempting to do is to disagree with the editor or the reviewer. They haven't got a clue, they don't understand, they haven't done the research that I've done. Disagreeing is fine, but it won't help you try and get published in that paper. Unfortunately, one of the realities of academic publishing is the editor, and by extension the reviewers, are like gatekeepers. It's their decision whether you come in or not. It's their journal, they decide where the parameters are. Now often, you may think that your research deserves to be published, and it probably does, but it may not be in the right journal. And it may well be that you have to go to another journal that's slightly different. Or it may well be simply that they don't think it's good enough quality. And at the end of the day, even if you're conforming with all of this, there is a qualitative, a subjective viewpoint of the editor about your article. Now, in an ideal world, there shouldn't be. It should be simple whether your article's good enough or not, but there will be some elements of that. And again, sometimes that's going to be hard to take. All I can say is that if you do think you've done everything you can and you do eventually get rejected, it will be much, much more easier to get accepted in the next journal. You just got to be patient to try different journals. There are lots of journals out there. There are more than 100,000 academic journals in existence. And often the criticism of academic publishing is too many journals, not too few. So there should be different options for you.